Welcome to Desi and Company. This is a show where we have fireside chats with professionals, experts, overcomers, and warriors. Today, our topic is anxiety caused by pandemic. I am pleased to be in the company of Tangy Small, a registered nurse in the state of Florida. So, Tangy, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, as you said, I am a registered nurse. I live here in Tampa, Florida. Been a registered nurse for 9 years. I worked in areas of nursing, travel nurse, mental health, neuro, and ortho. I'm currently a certified medical cannabis consultant, and I am currently working at the bedside. I work medical surgical, which basically that means that I see patients, acute chronic patients, and it could be anything from respiratory to GI.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I would like to commend you for being on the front line during this pandemic. I am
Thank
sure many people who are watching are dealing with some form of anxiety as it relates to the coronavirus.
you.
For one, I must admit, I have my moments. Like others, I am wondering when this pandemic will end.
Hmm.
Due to the stress and concern, many people have developed anxiety over this. Tangy, how can one tell if they're experiencing anxiety and what are the symptoms?
Well, if you notice that, if anyone starts to notice that they start to think about COVID-19, and when they start to think about it, or even not just think about it, maybe it's just something as simple as looking at the news, and they notice that they're starting to feel their heart racing a little bit, even just having like a little clammy sweat, um, 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 just being clammy, sweaty, having maybe a little shortness of breath. And if they're just thinking about it constantly and it playing over and over, and they can't even process thoughts because their mind is just occupied with what's going on with the corona, those could be definite signs that they're having some anxiety.
So what do you recommend that they do once they identify that they are suffering with anxiety? What do you recommend? Or what would be their next steps?
Well, I say to try to nip it in the bud and stop watching so much TV and social media about it. You got to take a break away from this. You got to get to the point where you don't make this your everyday routine where everything is corona, and COVID-19. That is going to be one of the biggest things. Take a minute to yourself and try to refocus on things that are important in your life, that once all this is over, you're going to need to continue on with life, and focus on more positive things, if possible, because this this coronavirus will eventually end. So I would say let's start there. Just not make it your sole purpose, and that's all you can focus on. That right there will help start minimizing the anxiety.
I appreciate that because I am guilty. I watch the news all the time, honey.
Yes.
I mean, like morning, noon, and night, I'm watching the news to see what the updates are. And then I have the
Right.
Fox 5 app on my phone, and it's constantly reminding me of, the information such as the number of cases in Georgia, how
Right.
many people have passed away from it.
Right.
And, literally, well, first of all, I try to be optimistic. I
Mhm.
try my very best to
Yes.
be optimistic. But the moment I walk outside, I feel like death is out there.
Right.
And it's just a different feeling.
Mhm.
This has been so surreal to me, and I'm sure it has been to you and others.
Yes. Mhm.
What has your experience been like working on the front line since this has happened?
My experiences on the front line, for me, I would say that it has been eye-opening. Eye-opening in the sense of just seeing how at the hospital we're having to operate even as for as when we have our just morning meetings and so forth, that we're no longer gathering around each other. Even when it comes to me and my coworkers, we're not able to be as close to each other as we usually are in how we do things. But then at the same time, we have to be in some close spaces because we're providing patient care. And as I'm interacting with people that are coming into the hospital, some of them are coming in for other illness and not the corona. It's it's um it's heartbreaking sometimes because I am a nurse of healing of touch. So I miss the fact that I don't even get to engage with my patients like I like to. So I'm having to learn and retrain myself on how to approach my patients and so forth, because I wear a mask, they wear a mask, and it has really taken away some of that. So on the front line, it has been very concerning, um, heartbreaking, challenging. It's just so many different things going on. It's just very emotional, actually, being on the front line. It's a very emotional feeling.
Well, and I can only imagine, how do you protect your mental health during this time? How do you stay positive? Because again, with people coming in not knowing if they have the coronavirus, and then you in a situation yourself, you're providing care, and even though you said earlier you can't, you know, you can't, you like to touch your patients, and I get what you mean when you say touch, but how do you protect yourself, you know, mentally, and make certain that you are positive during this time?
Mentally, for me, I have to step away from things. So for me, I do things as simple as I do cleansing breath. So I make sure I take time to myself to breathe. I also do meditation. I do things that restore that happiness and happy feeling. It's something as simple as maybe I turn on music and it makes me feel good. Um, Also, watch what I eat. At this time, it's very crucial that we don't sit back and just fill ourselves up with sugar and just, all these foods that are processed foods. I try to fuel myself on things that's going to help my body, help my memory, overall, just help me feel better, because if you're not feeling well physically, it's kind of challenging for you to feel well mentally. So I do those type of things. And basically, I try to stay optimistic. And I know this virus is going to be over. So I start to think and look forward of all the wonderful things that we're going to be able to do when this virus is over, because it's pretty heavy on a lot of us, because a lot of us are losing family and have lost family and friends.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, because I know a lot of people may not know at this very moment, you know, that they're suffering with anxiety. They could be health professionals that
Yeah.
are suffering with anxiety, and they
Oh,
probably don't
yes.
even know that they're suffering with that. So that advice that you gave was very beneficial. So now tell me this, Tangy. So what can we do to prevent from getting the coronavirus? I know we've heard several
Mm-hmm.
media outlets and other professionals tell us that we should wash our hands,
Mm-hmm.
that we should wear masks and all of that. So without doing both of those things, is that a guarantee that we won't get the coronavirus?
Well, um, nothing is guaranteed. So let's just put that there. Nothing is guaranteed. What that information is doing is just giving you the best information that they know of right now to help minimize your chance of getting the corona. But nothing is guaranteed. So yes, stay home. If you can stay home, wash your hands as often as you can wash your hands. I've seen people wear gloves. Wear your gloves, but don't forget you need to change those gloves pretty often when you wear them, because the gloves, they're going to pick up whatever and it transferred that way as well. And people are wearing their masks. They're asking us to wear masks now. And I believe one of the reasons why they're asking us to wear masks, because they're really trying to get down and hard on this virus and minimize the spread. So if you get all of us wearing masks, that decreases chances of it spreading. But like I say, nothing is guaranteed.
Thank you, Tangy. So, what is the difference between a surgical mask and an N95 mask? I know I've heard it mentioned several times that it's best to have an N95 mask, but my understanding is only people who are in the healthcare field have access to those N95 masks. So, what's the difference between the two?
So the surgical mask is more loose fitting than the N95 mask. The surgical mask is basically, say if you're coughing and sneezing, it's to help minimize that cough and sneeze, is to help minimize the spread of those germs. And those are the masks that we use for what is for droplet precautions. The N95 mask, the reason why you're hearing everybody say is really for medical is because those masks actually have to be fitted. You have to be fitted for those masks to make sure it has proper seal around your nose and around your mouth and so forth, because we use those masks for airborne precautions. And when you think about airborne precautions, that would be something like tuberculosis. And we do a test where once the mask is fitted, our face is sealed, and then we also get this spray to see if we can taste it. And with that being said, it's okay if people have the N95 mask, because they're also going to help protect you, like from droplet precautions as far as the sneezing and coughing. However, if you have not been properly fitted for an N95 mask and you are exposed to something airborne like dust particles that carries in the air, it's going to be just like wearing the surgical mask. It's not really going to give you the proper protection that you need. So that's why they're saying, as far as medical professionals should only be the one wearing them, because we are fitted for those masks.
Thank you for providing clarity on that, because that really helped me a whole lot. Now, there's another group of people, Tangi, that have anxiety about the coronavirus. And these are the group of people who have a compromised immune system. I, for one, with the condition that I have,
Yes.
I know I have a compromised immune system. So, how do you calm the fear that they have, the fear and the anxiety that they have, or shall I say that I have as well? How do you help calm our fear about this virus?
To calm the fear, I would say, is to, one has to know, first of all, that they're taking the best precautions to keep themselves protected. And like I say, nothing is guaranteed. So if you have an immunocompromised system, then your best precaution is probably staying home and making sure you wash your hands, because we know with the coronavirus, we don't know if someone has it, because if we know that it has also been asymptomatic. People have it, they're not showing signs, they're not showing symptoms or anything. So with that being said, if you're immunocompromised, to help minimize some of your anxiety, you definitely want to try to stay home, wash your hands, and use proper protection for yourself. As far as if you're going out and you putting on your gloves and you're wearing your mask, change your gloves and so forth and so forth and so on. So that itself is a start. The other thing, as far as anxiety, like I say, you're going to have to step away from a lot of the social media. You got to step away from a lot of TV. It's okay to be knowledgeable, but exactly how much knowledge do you need? You know, it's the coronavirus. We know deaths are rising. And we also know that people are recovering. So how much knowledge do you need? Because the information about what we have to do even with the CDC, it's changing on the daily. And it changed so rapidly that if you try to keep up with that, everybody is going to be crazy. Everybody's going to have anxiety. So you have to pull away. You have to know when you've had enough and step away, take the knowledge that you have. Most importantly, anybody with an immunocompromised system, talk to your doctor. If you have questions, call them up and talk with them and get their professional advice on what you need to be doing.
Thank you so much. That information was very helpful because, again, I have definitely, again, been guilty of watching the news, and it's been very informative, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But I would say this right here to you is that this right here has taught me a lot about myself. I have been home practicing self-care. There's some things that I was, before I was so busy, I didn't get a chance to work on those things. I've been working on several things lately. I've been cooking more. And so it's been great. So now I've been practicing social distancing. I know that's really hard for some people. Recently, I was watching the news on yesterday again, and there was a young man in Alpharetta that he stabbed his parents and his brother, and his father did not survive. And I don't know if that is a result of the fact that, of him being home, not being able to leave. Did it cause him to have a mental breakdown?
Right.
Which I'm almost certain that probably could have caused it. I don't know if he had any pre-existing issues, but that was sad. It was sad that happened, and there are so many different situations at home where people really don't know how much this is really affecting them. And so I know they have resources on jobs, like, they may have an employee assistance program if someone needs counseling. There's, I would say, contact your human resource department to get information on how you can contact that source for you as well. And so, Tangy, I would say practicing social distancing. Do you recommend that people have visitors over there to visit them during this time? So when you was talking about having a compromised immune system, that doesn't mean that a person is sick either. Most people probably think that person cannot function or they're disabled.
Right.
You can have a compromised immune system in which you have recovered from something, or something that is, the condition is not as worse as it was before. But then you have sometimes people during this time think they can still come visit you at your home. What's your thoughts on that, honey?
My thoughts on that, that's the good part about when people want to come visit. Let them knock. You don't have to let them in. You don't have to let them in. Honestly, this is the time where I say that with the social distancing, people need to respect people's space. And if people don't want company, don't think that you just need to pop up on somebody and go visit, because if you come to my house, I'm not opening my door. That's number one. I'm just saying. So on that part, I say stay home. Once again, stay home. And I think people are really missing the big point of this. It's not like the government is saying stay home because they're punishing us. They're saying stay home because this virus, it spreads so easily and it could go on for a while undetected. So you can be a carrier and you could just be spreading it to people and not knowing because you want to visit. It's okay. You could bake me some lasagna another time. I don't have to get that lasagna right now. It freezes well. Put it in the freezer. I could get it another time. So on that note, I definitely say for visitors need to stay home. And this is the other thing, because you brought up a good point. This is the time, you know how sometimes you're home and you say, oh, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. This is the time to take advantage of everything that they have online. It's so many programs. There's so many things they're offering online. I have one of my best friends. She does African dancing, and her group that she has danced with for probably over 30 years plus, they started doing free African dancing um, live online. Take advantage of that.
Well,
For
you need to
people,
share the information with me, honey,
it's
so I can. Yes.
yeah, their name is, they're the Kumba dancers right here in Tampa, Florida, and they go on live. I like to do yoga, so I have this place that I like to go to. It's called the Yoga Village. Well, guess what? They offering free yoga online, and for those of you that are really struggling with mental health, but you have always been afraid to go to somebody's office and been hesitant about getting judged and so forth, they have so many online professionals to help you, online apps. This is the time. Download your app, find somebody to talk to you. The help is there, so you don't have to feel that you're struggling with this alone. But as far as visitation goes, I say that's a no. That's a no. We don't need to visit. Yeah. My father, he has COPD. And with me knowing that I'm working in the hospital and coming in contact with people from day to day, I go get him groceries. But when I go grocery shopping for him, I'm literally just like Amazon. I get the groceries. Here, Dad, I can't come in. I can't do this. I just make sure he could get them, and I'm gone. And that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly appreciate your time because you gave some valuable information. I'm sure that everybody that watched
Thank you.
this segment today will definitely could definitely use some of the information that you shared today. You know, and I know I didn't really tell you who Tangy was to me, right? So many of you have heard my story. I've had 3 brain surgeries, and during the times in which I had my brain surgeries, Tangy, my personal registered nurse, came to my aid, and she came and took care of me. She communicated with my doctors and the other healthcare staff to make certain that I was taken care of, and she was there during my time of healing. And let me tell you about this lady here, honey. So one night at the hospital, I was being disobedient. I don't know what
Oh,
it was about, right? And I didn't want to do what she told me to do. Honey,
you didn't. You
let me tell
weren't
you
doing
about
what
this
I
sister
told you
here,
to.
honey. She gonna tell me this is your recovery and not mine.
That's right.
I looked at her like
That's right.
she have a point, but I ain't tell her then because I was kind of offended that she even just raised up a voice at me, gonna talk to me that way, honey. So when she said that, like the light bulb came on, and I realized that I need to get myself
Yes.
together. And from that moment on, I started doing better. I started walking like I was supposed to, and all the things that she was telling me to do, I would do it. There were some mornings I could not sleep, and you remember one night, Tangy, um, we were up one night, and my eye was swollen and all of that. And we were talking, and I was trying to get Tangy to record a video of me because
Yes.
I like to track my experience to share it with people so other warriors will know what to expect. And it was so funny that particular night. I told Ted, you know what I'm about to say though.
Yes.
I said I sound like Michael Jackson.
You did. No, you did.
It was
You had
so
that voice.
funny.
I don't know what was going on with that. You
I
had your
sound like
voice.
Michael Jackson that night, honey. Let me tell you. But she is really big on holistic care, and she has really
Yes.
taught me a whole lot about self care and how to care for myself. And I have definitely been practicing that since being home and practicing social distance.
Yes.
So it's definitely it's good to have a great friend who is a registered nurse like Tangy. And so she's definitely been so helpful to me, and she's very knowledgeable about many different things. And if you have a relative in your family who's in the healthcare field, I encourage you to reach out to that person.
Yes.
Anytime you have questions, if they're willing to offer you advice, definitely reach out to that person to help you because so many different people, again, with compromised immune systems, They are really afraid right now, especially
Yes.
if they are suffering with their illness. Many people, again, as I said, are not with a compromised immune system. They don't. That doesn't mean that they're ill.
Right.
Doesn't mean that they
That's
cannot
right.
carry on. A lot of these conditions that people have is not always visible, and so, and it could be that they're recovering from
Mm-hmm.
it and are living a healthy life. And so, with that being said, I encourage you to take care. Any closing remarks that you care to share right now, Tanja, before we close this session out tonight?
The only thing I would like to just touch on that when you mention holistic care, I just want the viewers and everybody to think as themselves as a whole. That's one of the biggest thing about holistic care. You don't just treat a symptom, you treat the whole body. So that's the same thing with everything going on with corona right now. Treat your whole body, treat your mind, treat your spirit, treat your soul, and treat your body physically and protect itself holistically. So put good in it and it will return good back to you. But the more you put negative in it, it's going to hold that inside of you, which there you have your anxiety, there you have your depression, and it is doable. It is possible. Anything is possible. And I would just like to say thank you for having me. And I would love to come back to just chat with you and have some good conversation. And I wish nothing but the best for your viewers, and just everybody stay positive because the coronavirus will end and we're going to get through this.
Yes.
And everybody take care and best wishes.
We thank you so much for your time. And thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you again next Wednesday. And we love you. Take care. Until next time. And Tangi, I just want to thank you so much for joining us
You're
tonight.
welcome.
Your
Thank you for
advice,
having me.
you're welcome. Your advice and your wisdom definitely are valuable. Again, I know you're on the front line. We certainly appreciate
Yeah.
you and the other healthcare professionals. We
Yes.
certainly appreciate you, and we cover you in prayer that God will continue to watch
Yes. And
over.
all the nurses, doctors,
Yes,
EVS, the people working in the stores. And I'm going to leave one last thing. I know we've been hearing so much about the essential people, but I just want to shout out the non-essential people. I don't even like the word, but it's
right.
there. If you consider to have a non-essential position, let me just say thank you,
Thank
because it's the
you.
essential people that are coming home to what people think are non-essential, but you all are probably the one holding us up. And I just want to say thank you for all the families and friends that are praying for all of us and supporting us, because all of us are essential. All of
Exactly. We
us.
all are essential.
Yes.
We
We
all
all are essential. Everybody.
exactly. And be certain that you do your part in practice social distancing.
Yes.
It's so very important because it can prevent the spread of this, and we can get back to our daily lives.
We
But
will.
we will. So if you want to get
Yes.
back to your norm, you want to get back to traveling, you want to get back to work,
Yes.
whatever it is, do your part to prevent the spread of this. Thank you for your time. I'm Desi Hall. And Tangi, again, we thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Until
Thank
next
you.
time.